And it is sentencing day for Sean Diddy Combs after a jury found him guilty in July of two felonies related to prostitution. But he's also facing a new lawsuit. Deontay Nash, who testified at the trial and worked as a stylist for the rapper, alleges he suffered years of abuse, which Combs denies. Nash spoke exclusively to Jerika Duncan.
Puff is chanced out. He's had enough chances. He's right where he needs to be.
Deontay Nash says he worked for Sean Combs from 2008 to 2018, styling Combs and his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. In May, Nash says he was ordered by the court to testify at Combs' criminal trial.
You didn't want to be there to begin with?
No, I did not.
But you were there because of?
I had to be for Cassie and for myself.
Last week, Nash filed a lawsuit against Combs, accusing the mogul of sexually, physically, and emotionally abusing Nash for a decade. The 39-year-old alleges Combs touched him inappropriately, used a homophobic slur more than once to address him, and choked him on multiple occasions.
Describe the incident you talk about when he strangled you, you say?
Yes.
What happened?
Which time? There was one. Cassie was shooting a video, I love it. And we went to like a restaurant the night before. He just came in with such a bad attitude, so I just left the room, you know what I mean? And I went outside to smoke a cigarette. Don't know how he found me, my back was turned. The next thing I know, he's coming up to me and grabbing me and choking me and throwing me on the car. Didn't I tell y'all don't need to be going out? I'm like, Jesus Christ, and he's like choking me out.
For all the people or questions about why you didn't leave, why you didn't quit or call the police, what stopped you from taking action much sooner?
We were frightened. I was frightened the whole time. I signed up for Bad Boy Entertainment, a record label. I didn't sign up for that kind of treatment. And it will last me for the rest of my life.
Combs' legal team denied the accusations in a statement to CBS News.
It said, Mr. Nash is another opportunist looking for profit off of his proximity to celebrity.
Well, I mean, it kind of mirrors his other statements. I'm far from an opportunist. I think he may be the opportunist. He's the biggest celebrity opportunist I know. A vast majority of the things in my lawsuit, I said on the stand, and they didn't dispute it.
Is this about money?
No, absolutely not.
What is this about?
This is about getting back everything I worked for. This is about getting, I was abused. No, it's not about money. It's about making myself feel whole. And I can do it.
What is your hope for the future?
I hope that the sentence is something good enough for the victims to get some peace and get their lives together and feel like they've gotten justice. I mean, that's really all I can ask for.
Earlier this week, Nash sent a letter to the judge writing that Combs robbed him of his safety and his dignity, saying that Combs' reach was suffocating. Vlad?
What a powerful interview, Jerika. Thank you very much.
You won't believe what's happening right now. Just when we thought things couldn't get any crazier with Diddy's ongoing legal battles, new shocking claims are surfacing, and this time, they involve Donald Trump himself. According to recent reports, Trump allegedly revealed to the press that Sean Diddy Combs is seeking a presidential pardon for his alleged crimes. But that's not all. In a twist no one saw coming, a juror who actually served in Diddy's trial is now speaking out, suggesting that the music mogul could be walking free much sooner than anyone expected. If that's true, this could completely change the trajectory of one of the biggest celebrity scandals in years. Let's break this down, because there's a lot going on here. Donald Trump's alleged comments sent shockwaves through both political and entertainment circles. He reportedly told sources close to him that Diddy's legal team has been exploring the possibility of a presidential pardon, something that, if granted, would instantly wipe out any pending federal charges against him. Now, pardons aren't unusual in the world of politics, but the idea of a hip-hop mogul like Diddy asking Trump for one has fans and critics alike questioning what's really going on behind the scenes. Why would Diddy reach out to Trump especially considering their complicated history. Is there a secret deal in the works? Or is this just another attempt to control the narrative? In an interview that's now making its rounds online, a former juror from Diddy's trial dropped a bombshell that's left the public stunned. They claim that while the evidence against Diddy was substantial, the burden of proof for trafficking and racketeering was incredibly high. So high, in fact, that a conviction wasn't as straightforward as many assumed. According to the juror, there were moments during deliberations where it felt like the entire case could collapse under the weight of technicalities. They described the process as emotionally draining, revealing that the jury struggled to separate public perception from what was legally admissible in court. One of the most striking parts of their statement was when they said, "It's one thing to hear rumors or read headlines, but in that courtroom, you realize how complicated justice can be, especially when the person on trial is someone like Diddy." That single line says a lot. It shows that even inside the courtroom, the atmosphere was tense, divided, and uncertain. The juror went on to describe how the defense team meticulously dismantled the prosecution's narrative, arguing that Diddy was being unfairly targeted because of his celebrity status and influence in the industry. They claimed that several witnesses were unreliable and that some evidence lacked the consistency needed to guarantee a conviction beyond reasonable doubt. The prosecution, on the other hand, reportedly focused on patterns of behavior, painting a picture of a powerful figure who used his wealth and status to manipulate those around him. Still, as the juror revealed, the entire case came down to one simple yet powerful phrase: reasonable doubt. And that's what might make the difference here. Because if the jury wasn't fully convinced beyond that threshold, then Diddy's legal team might already be preparing to push for an early release, or at least a massive reduction in sentencing. Now, let's go back to Trump's alleged revelation. If Diddy really did reach out for a pardon, that opens up a whole new can of worms. Remember, presidential pardons are usually granted for federal crimes, meaning this would have to involve very serious charges. The fact that Trump even mentioned it publicly, if the reports are accurate, could be part of a larger play. Some believe that Trump might be using this to draw attention during his campaign season, signaling to voters that he's not afraid to step into controversial territory. Others think this could be Diddy's way of leveraging political connections to secure his freedom. Either way, this situation is becoming as much about politics as it is about justice. Social media, of course, has been on fire. Some fans argue that Diddy deserves a fair chance, saying that the media has been biased from day one. Others see this as a blatant example of how money and influence can bend the system. People are asking, if an ordinary person faced these charges, would they be able to seek a presidential pardon too? Meanwhile, conspiracy theories are running wild. Some users are suggesting that there's a network of powerful figures working behind the scenes to protect Diddy, including people in politics, entertainment, and law enforcement. Whether that's true or not, it's clear that this story isn't going away anytime soon. What's really fascinating about the juror's claim is how human it makes the story feel. Behind the glitz, fame, and headlines, there are real people, jurors, victims, and even fans who are emotionally invested in the outcome. The juror confessed that the hardest part was knowing that their decision could shape public perception forever. They said, "When you're sitting in that jury box, you realize the power you hold, and it's terrifying." That emotional weight shows just how complex and controversial this trial truly was. The courtroom fell silent. Every camera stopped clicking. Every whisper disappeared. The judge's voice cut through the stillness, announcing the sentence: 50 months in federal prison. 4 years and 2 months. Diddy didn't move. He just sat there, staring ahead, completely still. The man who once defined success and power now looked empty, almost unrecognizable. His face showed no anger, no fight, just defeat. In that moment, the room felt heavier. Reporters froze. Attorneys glanced at each other, and even the guards seemed unsure what to do next. It was as if the weight of Diddy's entire legacy had fallen right there in that courtroom. No applause, no tears, just silence. The kind that tells you everything has changed. So what happens now? If Diddy's legal team truly is seeking a presidential pardon, we could see a massive political debate unfold in the coming weeks. Experts predict that if Trump comments on this again, it might become a headline story dominating both political and entertainment media. As for the jurors' revelation, legal analysts are already dissecting every word. Some say it might open the door for appeals or even retrials, especially if there's any suggestion of jury misconduct or external influence. Others believe it's just part of the ongoing media storm surrounding Diddy's name. The judge spoke with a calm but heavy tone, recognizing Diddy's rise from humble beginnings to one of the most powerful figures in entertainment. He acknowledged the impact Diddy had as a Black entrepreneur, someone who broke barriers and built opportunities for others. But then, his voice hardened. He said that none of those achievements could erase what he called overwhelming acts of violence and exploitation. The judge explained that this sentence wasn't just about punishment, it was about accountability. He said the court had a duty to send a message that fame and fortune could never place anyone above the law. There was no applause, no reaction, only the quiet echo of his words filling the room. When it was Diddy's turn to speak, his voice shook. He called his own actions disgusting, shameful, and sick. He said he hates himself for what he's done and that the past months had left him humbled and broke. The same man who once ruled the music industry now struggled to hold himself together in front of the world. Even his lawyer couldn't hide her emotion. Through tears, she said Diddy had changed her life, that working with him had shown her both his brilliance and his flaws. It was a moment of raw humanity, one that left the courtroom in stunned silence. Commentators immediately began debating whether Diddy's sentence was truly fair. Many questioned how a man facing such serious allegations could receive a reduced term, arguing that others in similar cases had faced much harsher punishments. To them, it felt like another example of how money, power, and fame can bend the rules of justice. Others pushed back, saying the situation wasn't so simple. They argued that while Diddy's actions were disturbing, the final charges didn't match the full scale of what RICO prosecutors originally pursued. His crimes, they said, were serious, but not as extensive as those in larger trafficking or racketeering cases. The discussion quickly grew heated. Was this justice served or justice adjusted for someone with influence? For many watching, Diddy's case became more than a legal battle. It became a reflection of how unequal the system can feel when a celebrity stands in front of the same judge as everyone else. The conversation soon widened beyond Diddy himself. Commentators began questioning the music industry as a whole, an ecosystem that for decades has quietly protected powerful men while silencing those they've harmed. They pointed out that Diddy's downfall isn't an isolated story. It's part of a much larger pattern of exploitation, where money and influence often shield the guilty while victims are left without a voice. Some spoke bluntly, saying that for every person who gets caught, there are countless others who walk away untouched. Executives, producers, artists, people who built their empires on control and intimidation still operate freely under the same system that allowed Diddy to thrive for so long. One speaker delivered a particularly striking reflection, saying that most defendants don't have Diddy's resources. They're forced to take plea deals not because they're guilty, but because they're scared of losing everything, scared of fighting a system built to favor the wealthy. It was a harsh reminder that justice in America often depends less on what you did and more on what you can afford. As Diddy begins serving his sentence, the focus shifts to the people left behind, the victims still waiting for real justice. Their stories haven't disappeared, but in a world where headlines change by the hour, public memory fades fast. Every new scandal pushes the old ones further down the feed, leaving survivors to wonder if anyone still cares. Among the most haunting accounts are the accusations from Cassie Ventura, who claims years of manipulation and abuse. Her story reignited conversations about the darker side of Diddy's empire and about how many people in his circle allegedly looked the other way. Some reports even suggest that celebrities like Usher may have witnessed moments of violence but stayed silent to protect their careers. The hypocrisy is hard to ignore. For years, Diddy preached empowerment, loyalty, and success, while allegedly hiding behind a facade of charm and confidence. Now his apologies feel hollow, words that can't undo the damage or erase decades of pain. The arrogance that once defined him has turned into regret. But for the people he hurt, regret isn't enough. No matter where you stand on this story, one thing is clear: the Diddy case is far from over. The fallout is reshaping conversations about fame, power, and accountability in ways the industry hasn't seen in years. More names are being mentioned, more truths are starting to surface, and what happens next could change everything we thought we knew about the people at the top. If you've made it this far, you clearly care about the truth behind the headlines. Not just the drama, but the meaning behind it. So don't miss what comes next. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and join us as we keep uncovering the stories others won't tell. Because in this world of secrets, power, and influence, staying informed isn't just entertainment, it's survival.